Welcome to a little bit of a mumble video on home storage and an update of what happened in the last couple of days. What I mentioned in my previous video is that I was planning to retire my Zyxel NAS520 NAS, which I owned for must be like 5 years or 5 or 6 years now, and I purchased a Synology DS233, which I believe it's a fairly new model. And there were two reasons why I choose is the NAS320 was doing a lot of things that I needed, but when it comes to mobile app and photo backup, and especially on iOS, it was absolutely terrible and useless. And that's the other thing. I wanted to make sure that I can back up my photos from my wife's photos, iPhone as well. So I have an Android, she has an iPhone. Neither of us are paying for any services either to Google or Apple for online storage. So I'm planning to store everything locally, and hence we have the NAS. And for the Zyxel, it was still working fine, but it wasn't working for iOS. So that's the one thing. So I'm in the process of setting up the new one. Maybe I can show you some tricks, what you can do if you are migrating from one NAS to another, one NAS to a Synology. And also I have found this really cool open source backup software, which is called the FreeFileSync, which I'm using extensively as well to do backup from my computer to the NAS. And I think this is much better than some of the other backup software that I have seen, especially the ones that use my cloud, like OneDrive from Microsoft or the Google Drive from Google. I think this is much more customizable, and it's much easier to use than anything else. So, and I think probably I'm going to show you a little bit of the two NAS as well, and then the user interface. I don't want to go into details because I think then we will be sitting here for like an hour, maybe two. But just to give you a little bit of flavor what each of the NAS does, especially if you want to buy a NAS, at least I can show you two, and then maybe just give you my ideas of what the main difference between them. Okay, so let me change the view to this one. That's looks. So we have this is the Zyxel NAS520. And this is the Synology DS233. And so, I mean, yes, you can see the difference between the two. I mean, definitely this is like, I don't know, it could be like a 10-year-old product. I'm not sure it was specifically new when I bought it. And again, I don't think that the firmware has been updated for at least like 3 or 4 years either. So, but we can quickly check in the system settings. So this is definitely old school, but in summary, I would say that if you just need a local file storage, which just like backing up your stuff on your home network, and if you don't want to have external access and mobile phones, I think the Zyxel does it. I mean, it's a trooper. It's been working like 5 or 6 years non-stop. I never really had any issues with it. I think I had one issue with the media server, and I had to contact support, and then it was fixed by a firmware update. But as you can see, yeah, okay, so even the last firmware was checked in almost 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be anything new. Yeah, so it looks like that. Oh, it's not checking. So yeah, I don't expect any firmware to be available for this one. And then you have the Synology. This is called, I think, DSM, this disk something management. This user interface, it's it's new. It looks really, really nice, and of course it does a lot of other things. For example, as I said, there are some really good applications if you want to access your documents or photos on your phone. This works well, as far as I can see, it works really, really good. While my friend has a Synology NAS and he's using that as well. So some of this remote access thing is much better supported. Things like, basically the fact that this supports certificates, so you can access it securely. So the Zyxel NAS didn't do that. So even when it comes to like communication, besides the the regular Windows shares or some Samba shares, it also does like FSTP and so secure FTP, which the NAS didn't do. So these are the main things, and I guess you can get the idea. And of course there is like a difference in price, so it definitely shows. But both of them supports 2 drives, so I have 2 drives installed in RAID 1 in both of them. So in terms of the the general redundancy is pretty much the same between them. So you can see that I have 2 volume and it has 2 hard disks. So this has 2 times 2 terabyte hard disks. Yeah, fairly nice toasty hard disks. And then the Zyxel has 4 terabytes, which I'm still trying to get my head around where I can check the volumes. It's not this one. Users, it's not users, it's not share folders. I will find it at some point. If I close this one, I can go into yeah, as storage manager. Okay, so I have the I have, again, it's 1 volume because I already created a single volume with the 2 hard drives. So 3.6 terabytes is and it is also running in RAID 1. So yeah. Okay, what I use both of the hard drives, well, sorry, both of the NASs mainly, is that I create various users. I have various folders on these, so like things like photos, musics, and videos, and and documents, and I just upload my stuff from my laptop to it. And of course, if I download some videos, I put it into the video folder, and then both of them works as a media server, so I can just watch TVs from the NAS on here. I can also stream music from here to, like, you have some really good Android applications. I have one just called Bubble UPnP, I think. So I can, on the phone, I can see my music on my NAS and I can stream it, let's say, onto my Google Home. So that works. To be honest, I'm not really using this. And anyway, we are subscribed to Spotify. So if I listen to music, which is not really often, I just use Spotify. And I've done the same in the Synology as well. So I have shared folders. And yeah, so documents, photos, and videos. And this also creates these default folders like homes, where it's like the users in the Windows folder. So you would have a subfolder for each user created. And then, yeah, it's the documents, photos, users live there. I mean, documents, so far what I've noticed is the photo backups. So that would get created in each of them. So the Synology also supports photo backup, but then it just has a single folder. So where is my, yeah? So it has a single folder for photos, and so you can see, like, it has a single folder for photo backup, and then I just had one account, and then every time I would use this on one of my phones, then it would create a separate folder for that phone. So you can see how many phones I had over the years since I had this device. I guess maybe I can even, yeah, 2017 is the earliest date. So I must have this device for 2017. And then for each of them, it creates a folder for every single month. So the Synology does fairly similar, but as I said, it puts it into these homes. So homes, and then let's say me, and then photos, mobile backup, and again the name of the phone, and then the file that it backups. So yeah, a couple of more subdirectories, but under what you call it, Android, it's always going to be camera, and then for every year it creates a subfolder, and then for every single file. So it's fairly easy. And then both of them has like, you know, separate web view for looking at files and photos as well. And so one thing that really annoyed me, for example, with Zyxel is that like, you know, you have this file viewer, which, I mean, it works, but it's so sort of like backward. Like, you can't view all your files. You have to, like, you know, page, and then even if you would, you know, sort them, then I think as you go to the next page, it doesn't really work. You can't search. There is no search here. So like finding anything on the web interface is painful at best, and it's pretty much the same experience on the mobile. So I mean, I had tons of documents, and there was this mobile app. Actually, there are two mobile apps, and like changing folders takes time. And if I'm on a slower network, it would just time out, and I wouldn't be able to find anything. So this is why I said, if you want to access anything outside, then it's just pain. So I just stopped using that. And this is why I said, you know, it still works fine if I want to use it as a local server. And, you know, I'm using Total Commander mostly instead of the Windows File Manager. And I have shortcuts for every single of my NASes. So you can see this is the Synology. So I have all the documents here. I can just quickly search here. And then the same for the Synology as well. So I have all the folders shared. Of course, it only works locally when I'm at home, but that's fine. I mean, yeah, I don't mind. Going back, you know, looking at some just controls. So here on, you can create users and groups and share folders, and of course you can do all the things that you do in normally in these things, like you can set quotas, like the users, which user is assigned to can view which shared folders or have read or write access. If they can have quotas, you can also assign well, in the Synology you can also assign authorization to applications, like if access to FTP. But I think the same worked on Synology as well. I don't remember, but I think you could, yeah, groups access. No, it was only shared folder access. But then you would, yeah, you can do quota. While here you do quota per volume. I think for the Synology you can do quota per shared folder as well. But I'm not really going down to these level of details anyway, so I don't need the extra functionality. There is also like encryption. You can you can encrypt shared folders. So yeah, Synology has also recycle bin. I don't think that the Zyxel has it, but even if it would have, I wouldn't use it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I never use LDAP, so I don't know what this is, to be honest. So yeah, user, shared folders, file services. So both of them has Samba or the Windows share. I mean, you could see that. You can set the work group. Nothing much, to be honest, that I would mention here. And there is a bunch of stuff here, which NFS, yep, that's a Windows thing as well. Okay, and the one thing that I use is FTP. So that is configured in both of the systems, yeah, because it has FTP here. I mean, obviously this FTP is probably somewhat more limited here, as you can see, and here I can do a lot more other stuff. And of course, not just FTP, but I can do FTPS, and I can also do SFTP. But I don't want this NAS to be accessible from the outside, so I only enabled FTP. And basically I'm using FTP for two reasons. One is I have a Ricoh, like the office printer scanner thingy, and this has the scanner option where it scans the documents, creates the PDF, and uploads it to FTP. So I created a couple of shortcuts and folders. So like my car documents or anything which is related to kids or school and work and contracts, those go to a different folder. So I just press the scan button and it uploads into FTP. So that's the one use of the FTP. And of course from Node-RED or my server, anything I want to upload, it usually goes via FTP. Like I want to backup files, general backup of the server, backup of Node-RED. I think I mentioned this in my previous videos. So that usually goes through FTP. So this is what I'm using mostly the FTP functionality for. And you also have remote sync. Never use this. No idea what this is. Some cloning and TFTP. Again, no idea what this is. And if I go back to the the Synology, you can see that this network stuff is only about the network settings and server and interface and IP. Well, there is port mapping as well, which I never used. Yeah, you can enable a terminal, telnet, I never used. There is DIN DNS here. There is DIN DNS here as well. So that's router configuration, that sort of stuff. So the Synology has the remote access, which is used by the applications. That is called a quick connect. And Zyxel also have one, I don't know where it is called and where it is, but that's also used by the applications. I mean, which is good, but the whole application is pretty crap, so it's not that useful. Yeah, you have the network here, network interface, traffic control. Again, definitely you have more functionality here. And then security, as I said, or you can do two-factor authentication, which I haven't enabled yet, and then a firewall protection. Yeah, and the certificate is here. So you can, well, because it handles certificates, it definitely, you can enable the HTTP communication to be HTTPS. But again, I use everything locally, so I haven't turned on the secure FTP. Yeah, and TLS and everything else. And then terminal, SMP, SNMP. Yeah, that could be useful to enable SNMP as well, because I'm using SNMP to monitor the cartridge level on my printer as well, so from Node-RED. So might as well just do it for the Synology if I can get some details out of it. Okay, there's a lot of regional option, power, like, fan speed and that sort of stuff you can do here. And then, power schedules and, yeah, you can communicate with the Synology UPS if you want to. You don't really have here. So here in the system, you just have the, what is the name of the server, the date and time. Oh, there is SSL here. Oh, okay, I was wrong. So you can install certificates here as well, and also I guess you can create a self-signed certificate as well. Okay, I mean, for the Synology it makes it a little bit easier because it generates your own certificate. You can see that there was already a certificate, probably was generated by Synology for the device. I'm not really sure, but here, if you want a proper certificate, I guess you would need to go and pay for it and get it generated, and then you can just upload the certificate files. So the whole the application management is quite different for both of these machines, because both of them has okay, that's the Zyxel cloud, that's the internal access that I was talking about. So both of them has like an app store thing, and from that I've installed some basics. Well, no, I think these were installed already. So the media server is a UPnP server. There is a separate iTunes server which I haven't used, and then the FTP that we talked about, and then the only reason I enabled it because I think I was playing around with something, but yeah, there is a web publishing, so you can enable a folder that you want to publish, and then it's just going to create a very, very simple like web-based directory structure. But it is actually good enough to share some, do some really basic share with somebody. So you can just open up port 5000, redirect it to this one, and I mean, I did that a couple of times. I sent a link to one of my friends if they wanted to download something, and I would just open it up on my router, and then if they managed to download, then I would just close it. So don't keep it running all the time. And there is a print server and the syslog server. And then, yeah, you also have some maintenance here for backup and power and log. So the main things are here. And I wonder if I can find this thing where I can do the application installation. Yeah, there is like a download and upload manager. So I think you can use this to download torrents if you want to. I haven't really used it. I mean, I just use my laptop. And same for the upload manager. You can do YouTube upload or FTP upload. Maybe that's useful. Backup stuff. And then most of the application that you install, there is like a small app for that, to view your photos and stuff. But as I said, most of it are like, fairly basic and not that useful. As opposed to if I would look the same in the Synology. So if I just show you the photos, so that's going to show the photos of the ones that I've uploaded already from my phone. I mean, it looks like the Google Photos. Like, basically you have a timeline, and then you can just, you can look at albums as well. So you can create your own albums, or if you would tag your photos, you can, look at based on tag. You can look at the videos only. You can do them by places, so it remembers or it recognizes all the different places based on the coordinates on your photos. And then it also runs AI, and it recognizes pictures and faces and people. So it automatically creates groups, and then you just put the names in, and then you can, search by name. So it looks quick. It looks fairly useful. So I could imagine somebody would use this in order to organize photos than trying to do it in the phone. So it's nice, it is working, and there are separate applications to do similar things for, videos and documents, which I haven't installed, because you can do this package manager. That was a very similar thing in Synology as well. So you have all these applications that you can install. And this is how people install like you can install Node.js, and then you can run Node-RED on Synology servers as well. But I wanted to keep it as a file server, so not really planning to do like, there is, web stations, so you can set it up as a web server. You can set it up as an email server, chat server. So there is a lot of stuff. You can, as you can see, PHP, database, Apache. You can do a lot here. There's definitely more applications that you can install here. As I said, I did the... Okay, there are some updates available. So I did the Synology photos, and that's it. I think the media server was installed by default. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, the 2 means that the 2 updates are available. I have a very mild flu, so if my voice sounds strange, that's the reason for that. So the other thing I wanted to show is like migration from one to another, which maybe it's exactly the no, I don't think it would be that same if I would migrate to the Zyxel, because in the file browser I don't really have anything which would be as useful as the yeah, there is nothing here which would be, yeah, there is no write menu here. But if I show you the same in the Synology, it's really cool. Actually, I found this when I was looking for this solution. So this is your file system, and then in Tools you can mount a shared folder. So what I can do here is I can access my old NAS, because I mentioned previously that my plan is that I don't want both of the NASs running, so I think I'm just going to just shut down the Zyxel and then use it as sort of like a time capsule. But then anything that I use on a daily basis, or anything that I want one more copy of, like the personal photos and documents, I wanted to copy this over into the Synology. And it was really easy to do because like on my Zyxel, I have, by the way, it's 90, I have like a documents folder. So I can just type the path for this and then the user ID and the password on the Zyxel. And let's say I want to put this into this, or I created this share which is called a mount just for this. Mount. Okay, documents. I think I should do this. Okay. And now these are the files from my Zyxel, and I can just do select all and tools, no actions, copy to, and copy it to the Synology. And then it creates a background job in the Synology which actually does the whole copy. So this is how I managed to fill up the 500 or 400 gigabytes of data already, basically by copying everything over. And when the copy is done, you get a notification here that the copy is complete. I mean, I started it when I got everything working, and it took I just left it to copy overnight, and then basically by morning it had copied the 400 gigabytes over. So if I look at the file station now, everything under documents, I think this is 200 gigabytes, so that has been copied over. And I did the whole thing on my photos. So these are like old photos from my DSLR and some, other people's photos that I collected separately. So that's 150 gig, I think. So these are being copied over. And then like your music and video is empty. And of course, in the homes, I have all the things that got backed up from the phone. And I also have this backup folder. So this is where most of my Node-RED backup is. So, most of the backup what Node-RED does. So it is the Node-RED backup and some data backup from my PLC, and what is under OTP? Oh yeah, because I had OpenHAB ages ago, so I was backing up that one as well. And there's a lot of log files that I back up. So these are the CSV files that Node-RED generates as a backup. So they are being backed up here as well. And I started collecting some of the images from my webcam, which is not the webcam, the IP cam, which is looking at the street, because I want to do some AI image recognition. So I just started collecting data, but that just started today. So again, this is just another folder that I copied over, and then I just redirected all my backup shell scripts and everything to use the new server IP and the new user ID and a password. But at least the folders are the same. So I think this this mount, that was a really cool trick. And yeah, I have the mount list, and yeah, you can see, yeah. And I've already copied over all of these files, so I think I can just unmount them. And by this, I think I've copied everything over, so I can just come over to the NAS and close this one, and from here I can, I think the shutdown is here, so I can shut it down. At least it has a little bit of peace and quiet after 5 or 6 years of continuous operation. So that was a little bit of a quick view of Synology. If you want anything deeper, I'm pretty sure there are tons of documents on YouTube already. I just wanted to compare the two so you can see the changes. And as you can see, most of the things that I've shown are fairly similar. So the really extra thing on the Synology is more of the security stuff like the FSTP and the ease of use of the certificates and all the mobile applications that I haven't even talked about. So obviously there is a mobile application for the photos, and so that's called Synology Photos, and there is another really good one which is called the DS File, which allows you to basically just look at all the files. So it's like a remote file system. So like if I need to access to any of my backed up documents, I would use that one as well. And also, it's not really relevant for me because I have an MVR, but Synology can also act as an MVR. So I think most of the Synology servers have licenses for 2 IP cameras, and you can buy additional licenses. It just uses the storage to store, videos like an MVR. But I wouldn't waste like a RAID 1 volume on storing, security footage. And for that, I think you would be better off buying a separate MVR, or you need to buy one of the big Synologies where it has like 4 bays, and then you would use 2 bays in RAID 1 for the important data and some of the others as RAID 0 for, non-important data. I mean, I guess video footage wouldn't be, like security footage wouldn't be something that you want to store in RAID 1. At least if you're recording something around your home. So that's it. Then finally, let me talk about this FreeFileSync. I found this, already ages ago, and the only reason I like it because it has this option where you basically say that I want to back up this folder on my computer, and I want to back it up to this folder on the, it could be anywhere. And as you can see, I'm just specifying like a Samba network share. And this is why I'm sharing all my drives, because the FileSync uses the Samba share. And the main reason I'm using this and not like OneDrive or Google Drive, because I could not get any of these. Well, maybe back in the days, I couldn't get any of these applications to specify a lot of different drives which are all over my computer. Because there was always, then I have to do everything in my OneDrive folder. But I don't want that. I want to back up something from here. I want to back up my movies from here, my pictures from there, and some of the documents selectively on some folders. So I have this where you can have all these things, and you can just save them in a single file. And when you double click that file, it just starts it as a job. So you can just schedule it as a background job using the Windows scheduler, but I just run it. So whenever I know that I want to back up something, and if I know that I'm going to leave the computer running for, let's say, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, whatever long it takes, then I just usually do it. And so that's one thing. So you can see that I'm already having a couple of folders that I usually back up. But the main thing is that is this screen. Is you have the the basic synchronization, but then you can configure these for every single folder separately. And the reason I like it because as you can see, it has a couple of options. So you have the two-way synchronization, which basically is like if anything changes either on the NAS or the file or the computer, then it just copies it and then keeps both of the folders the same. And of course, it goes into the subfolders as well. Or you can do the mirror, which, as you can see, it just copies everything over to the NAS. So you have these conditions, like what you do if the file exists on the left side only, if the left side is newer, or it cannot resolve the conflict, or the right side is newer, or the item only exists on the right side. So you can decide what to do. And basically I either use the two-way, so if I want to keep everything in sync, or I use the update one. No, actually I use the custom one, like, I think I like on this one. No. Then, let's see, I think movies. Yeah. So, for example, what I do with the movies is that it's going to copy everything over to the NAS, but then I can delete stuff on my laptop. So whenever I create any new YouTube movies, I create the final video in the movies folder, and I run this, and it backs up everything into my NAS. But then, of course, when my laptop runs out of storage, I just go to the movies and I start deleting some of the old ones. But the synchronization, because these two options are deleted, it's not going to because these two options, the last two options are deleted, it's never going to remove it from the NAS. So I think it's great. And or you can even specify if to use, whenever you delete something, whether you should use the recycle bin or do it permanently. And you can also do filters, things to exclude. If you have some special rules on the comparison, like I don't know, ignore the time. Well, you wouldn't ignore the time. Maybe you can ignore the size as well. Or, well, I guess you can do, file content update as comparison as well. And so, for example, I think I can, because it's been a long time since I last used it, because I had this all backup configured, like this FFS batch. And I have an icon on the desktop, and I double click in and it does the copy. But I think you can do the compare as well. And now it's just going to do a comparison. So it's going to compare the folder on your laptop and all the removed folders and all the files in it, which is going to take ages, because I must have like tens of thousands of files here. And then it's going to list you everything, what it would do. Like, okay, it would copy it here, it would delete it from there, or vice versa, based on these settings. So I just configured or reconfigured this file for the new NAS, and I want to do a comparison run first, just to make sure it does it, what it's supposed to do. But that's what I'm going to be using. And again, the way it is configured at the moment, it only works with local files, so I can only run this setup if I'm at home, or the backup when I'm at home. But even if I travel, I don't travel for a long extended period of time, so I'm completely fine with just doing the backup whenever I arrive at home. So I don't use the cloud for that. And especially if I have the network cable connected, then it's pretty fast. Okay, so it was definitely good to run this, because I think I have some issues. So I probably need to tweak the settings, because I tweaked them from the what it was before. And as you can see, it has compared, I don't know, like 40,000 files. I'm not really sure what is, 300,000 files. So that took like 10 minutes. So according to this, it would need to copy a lot of things back to my laptop, which I definitely don't want. So it says 40,000 entries that would need to get copied. Or is it show the files that will be created on the left side? Okay. Show the files that will be updated on. Okay, so yeah, I definitely don't want that. I'm not sure why it is trying to copy all this stuff over. So, so this could be the difference, whether you set something to synchronize two ways. Maybe I had this folder to only synchronize as an update one, so I never expected anything to be copied back from the NAS, because this is what I use in most of my stuff. Like, I have a lot of folders where I start collecting data, and I just make sure that it has a copy in the NAS, and then whenever I need space, or there are just old documents, that I can delete it from the laptop, knowing that it's on the NAS. But You can see that I was working in Power Director, which is my editing suite. So I've created some new files, which obviously needs to be backed up into the NAS. And this is something that I just copied some documents over to the laptop from a pen drive, and so they don't exist in the NAS. So that needs to be copied over. But there is a bunch of stuff here which I have deleted a lot of old Arduino libraries that I'm not using anymore. And for some reason it thinks that it needs to copy them over from my laptop. So maybe the timestamps are a little bit off. So I would need to think about it. Yeah, there is a lot of Arduino stuff. I'm pretty sure I haven't touched this project for at least a year now. I know that I touched the Atmos project, which was on the top. This one. Probably a couple of months ago. So this could be the thing, some issue between how I migrated the files over from the old NAS to the new NAS. But I'm glad that I run this before I I would click on the synchronize button, because then it would start copying all these files from one to another. And so these are the things which, it says, nothing happened. So these files are exactly the same in both on both sides, both the left side and the right side. And because and there is a lot of videos that it also wants to copy over, because I haven't copied the videos from the NAS, from the old NAS to the new NAS. So I still have a bunch of videos on the laptop, which then it wants to back up into here. So that's a lot. That's going to take some time. Yeah, I wonder what's the I'm pretty sure it says total bytes to copy 200 gigabytes. Yeah, that feels a little bit unreasonable. So I probably need to tweak these a little bit just to make sure that I don't do too much, or I'm not trying to overwrite something that, or copy over something that I already deleted from the laptop on purpose, because this one has a 500 gig hard drive, and it's pretty much full. So I don't have an awful lot of space here. So I think that will be all for today. I hope that you managed to learn something from all of these, and it's worth your half an hour, a little bit more time to watch this. So thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.